Hello, all you freedom-loving people. Welcome to another episode of Front Page. I'm your host, Scott Cameron Goulet. While the wave of pro-abortion protests has been numerous across the U.S. since Justice Alito's draft opinion was leaked, they do not compare to the size of the protests when George Floyd died at the hands of a police officer, nor are they as violent. Elon Musk left a cryptic message on Twitter that did not impress his mother. Many will be watching closely to see what happens next to Elon Musk. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration says that Americans should prepare to live with COVID-19 just like any other flu. China is experiencing its first economic downturn since November 2016, and Hong Kong has a new leader, and he appears to be very pro-CCP. Okay, let's get into it. Over the past weekend, a number of attacks against pro-life organizations occurred in multiple states across the United States. The most serious one occurred in Wisconsin. A fire broke out early on Sunday in the offices of a prominent anti-abortion group in Madison. A threat was spray painted on the group's building. It said, "If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either." The threat was found on the Wisconsin Family Action's offices by police while they were responding to a call of flames inside the building. Investigators wrote in a report, a Molotov cocktail which did not ignite was thrown inside the building. It also appears a separate fire was started in response. There was also reports of violent demonstrators attacking a pregnancy center in Portland, Oregon, and a Catholic church in Boulder, Colorado. Some commentators have suggested that these protests are fewer and smaller than expected in terms of number and scale. John Nolte, a senior writer for Breitbart, believes abortion rights is one of the issues that leftists care about most. He wrote, "The media have always been lunatics about abortion. For decades, we've literally been told that if there's a second civil war, it will be over abortion." He had expected massive protests after the leaked draft was reported. However, this didn't happen. He thought that there would be protests the size and frequency after President Donald Trump's election win in 2016 and after the death of George Floyd in 2020. On November 9th, 2016, President Trump defeated Hillary Clinton and became the 45th President of the United States. That very same night, the streets were filled with hysterical leftists. Nolte wrote on May 25th, 2020, Floyd was killed by a Minneapolis police officer. Protests and riots broke out across the country the very next day. In particular, the leftists were extremely quick to respond to these incidents. He added, "In a matter of hours, it was on. The left exploded. The streets were full. The outrage, anger, the need to get out there and protest could not be contained." This time, though, the leftists were slower to respond and the protests were much smaller. So his conclusion is that this is a good sign to encourage the justices to overturn Roe. He stated, "If anything, the Supreme Court is looking at this deafening silence and feeling pretty confident that the time has come to overturn Roe." The support of lawmakers, of course, gave the justices the courage to stand by their opinions. The Senate is preparing to quickly pass a bill that would guarantee the safety of the families of U.S. Supreme Court justices. This is the Senate's response to the current situation following the leaked draft opinion of the Supreme Court majority agreeing to overturn Roe. Elon Musk, who has been at the center of public opinion recently, suddenly sent out a strange tweet on Sunday night. "If I die under mysterious circumstances, it's been nice knowing ya." His mother, May Musk, responded, "That's not funny." Musk replied, "Sorry, I will do my best to stay alive." Does he really sense any danger? It's very possible. Shortly before his cryptic tweet, Musk quoted a message from Dmitry Rogozin, who is the head of Russia's space agency Roscosmos. Dmitry's statement was sent to Russian media denouncing Musk's Starlink satellite company for allowing Nazi Azov battalions to access the internet. Dmitry tweeted, "Elon Musk thus is involved in supplying the fascist forces in Ukraine with military communication equipment. According to our information, the delivery of the Starlink equipment was carried out by the Pentagon. And for this, Elon, you will be held accountable like an adult, no matter how much you will play the fool." The word Nazi doesn't mean what he seems to think it does, Dmitry added. There are no angels in war. Musk's Starlink has indeed been helping Ukrainians connect to the internet during the Russian-Ukraine war. A Ukrainian soldier identified as Dima told journalist David Patrikarakos, Starlink is what changed the war in Ukraine's favor. Russia went out of its way to blow up all our comms. Now they can't. Starlink works under Katyusha fire, under artillery fire. It even works in Mariupol. Many say that Musk is pushing the envelope for free speech wherever he can, whether it's on Twitter or in the skies over Ukraine. Newly released notes show that high-level Department of Justice officials met with FBI leadership on March 6, 2017 to cover up the spying on the 2016 campaign of President Trump. The notes were released on May 8th by lawyers who are representing former Hillary Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussmann as evidence to clear him on charges of having lied to the FBI. The notes do provide quite a bit of information on the FBI. The meeting took place just 2 days after Donald Trump's March 4, 2017 tweet in which he accused former President Barack Obama of having wiretapped Trump Tower. The FBI panicked because it was unsure exactly how much Trump knew about their efforts to tie him to the Russia collusion allegations. We will cover this in detail on our membership site since we already got a warning from YouTube about one of our previous Durham reports. So before we move on, I want to remind you that if you like what you see here on YouTube, you will love our membership site. I'm sure many of you have already seen it, but for those who haven't, here's the trailer. Our front page membership website has been up and running since January 20th, 2021, and this is where we share more in-depth analysis of the news. I want to thank everyone who has been a part of our membership website. We love you and we couldn't do this show without you. Your dedication to our membership site ensures that we will continue to bring you the same great coverage. The membership website is our safe place. We post every single episode of Front Page there without any ads. So even if YouTube takes down the video, it will stay on our membership website. But what's really special about our membership site is that we have exclusive, in-depth content that is not uploaded anywhere else. Many of you have commented on how much you enjoy Front Page because we do not add any fluff and we tell the truth just how it really is. Our membership videos go one step further. It's the same Front Page style that you know and love, and we analyze deep, complex issues in a calm, rational, and inspiring manner. Becoming a Front Page member will not only keep you informed, but will also help support our mission. So please join us on frontpageshow.com. Okay, let's get back into it. Acknowledging that it's time to accept the existence of COVID-19 as the new normal, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, is recommending that COVID-19 be treated as just another flu. Several senior FDA officials, including Commissioner Robert Califf, wrote in the Journal of the American Medical Association that COVID-19 will exist for the foreseeable future. He stated, nonetheless, it's time to accept that the presence of SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, is the new normal. The article reads, the virus is likely to circulate globally in the foreseeable future, taking its place alongside other common respiratory viruses such as influenza. Annual vaccination against the most threatening variant of the virus is recommended as needed. However, the government is not mandating everyone to get the flu vaccine. So, is it also no longer going to be mandatory that everyone gets the COVID-19 vaccine? This is clearly different from the views expressed by public health officials in 2020 and 2021 when President Trump compared the COVID-19 virus to the flu in 2020. He was criticized by Anthony Fauci, who said it was wrong. Fauci told NBC at the time that it's not correct to say it's the same as the flu. But Fauci recently told CBS News that Americans will likely have to deal with COVID-19 in a similar manner to influenza. Beijing insists on zero infection for the flu-like COVID-19 virus. The price is an economic downturn to the brink of collapse. The Chinese yuan plunged more than 1% against the US dollar on May 9th, leading the decline in most emerging market currencies. In addition, foreign exchange reserves recorded the largest monthly decline in April since November 2016. The sudden reversal since April of the yuan's two-year rally is linked to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, to the Chinese Communist government's harsh zero policy, and to the lockdown of cities, including Shanghai. On Monday, the yuan's onshore currency fell to a low of 6.73, which is the weakest since November 2020. The yuan has fallen so fast that it has outpaced new forecasts made by analysts and traders. At the beginning of April, the market was positioning the yuan at 6.36 to the dollar. A Bloomberg survey of 11 traders and analysts in late April showed that they expected the yuan to fall to 6.7 yuan per dollar within 3 months, yet it turned out that this target was achieved in less than 2 weeks. This trend of a falling yuan is expected to continue for some time. Chris Turner, a strategist at ING, said in a note, investors will continue to reassess the outlook of the Chinese economy and asset markets. With industrial metal indicators moving lower again, it seems premature to call the yuan reaching a low. The deteriorating economic outlook for China is driving global economic expectations, with a report last week showing Chinese manufacturing activity plummeting to its worst level since February 2020. The Wall Street Journal on May 6 said that China is now experiencing one of the worst economic slowdowns since the early days of the pandemic, with zero policies hitting domestic demand and disrupting both production and exports. The authorities' infrastructure investment plans are feared to be difficult to work. On Sunday, May 9th, John Lee was appointed as the new leader of Hong Kong, replacing Carrie Lam. He was the only candidate in the election for Hong Kong's chief executive. Therefore, many media in the West, while reporting at length, refused to use the word elected, and they instead used the words succession and chosen. Most of these reports emphasized Lee's background as a police officer and his appointment by the CCP. The BBC published a report titled John Lee, the ex-security chief who became the leader. It mentions that during his tenure as Secretary for Security, the police were criticized for using water cannons, tear gas, rubber bullets, and occasionally live ammunition against protesters. This report also mentioned Article 23 legislation, saying that since the Hong Kong government failed to legislate Article 23 in 2003, no chief executive has since tried, but now Lee is calling it a top priority for the new government. The Associated Press reported that the villains who oversaw the crackdown on Hong Kong's freedom protesters are now in charge. Known as a staunch CCP supporter, Lee oversaw a violent crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in 2019. His appointment is widely seen as a move by the CCP to tighten its grip on the city. The CCP has now completed its takeover of Hong Kong. The city, which was once the freest in the world, is no longer free. The most direct criticism came from the Indian media, Press United, which reported that John Lee was the next leader of Hong Kong and that he is a puppet in the hands of the Communist Party of China. Lee's role in suppressing democracy and freedom has led to U.S. sanctions against him and against a dozen other officials. Foreign ministers of the G7 issued a statement on Monday, May 9th, expressing grave concern about the election process, calling it an attack on Hong Kong's fundamental freedoms. The UK returned Hong Kong to China in 1997 under an agreement. This agreement was to guarantee certain rights such as the freedom of assembly and the freedom of speech. For 25 consecutive years, The Heritage Foundation ranked Hong Kong as the freest country in the world, but not anymore. The CCP has made these freedom rights exist in name only. Next, I want to take a moment to thank you all for your support of Front Page. Your donation and your membership subscription are really helping us to continue to tell you the truth. Every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you have already subscribed, please double check to make sure that you are still subscribed. We've heard from many of our viewers that they don't get notifications of our videos from YouTube anymore, so please follow us on Telegram, Gab, and Getter for the latest updates. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth. Again, thank you for watching Front Page, and we will see you next time.